The lights at Windsor Castle flicker to life. Candles, silver, crystal, all prepared for an occasion that few royals ever reach, a 90th birthday. A milestone not just for a man, but for a family. The Duke of Kent, loyal servant to the crown for over 7 decades, is to be honored by the king himself, or so the invitations say. But this celebration, planned behind palace walls, now sits in a peculiar shadow, not because of politics, scandal, or royal friction, but because of something far more human: health. Before we continue, there's something we need to say. Thousands of you watch our deep dives into royal history, legacy, and power, yet many still haven't subscribed. If you believe in understanding the crown beyond the headlines, subscribe to Crownverse. Let's uncover the quiet truths together. The announcement seemed simple enough. A private reception hosted by King Charles III at Windsor Castle to celebrate the 90th birthday of his cousin, Prince Edward, the Duke of Kent. It was to be intimate, elegant, and deeply symbolic. After all, the Duke has long been one of the monarchy's most reliable figures, quiet, diligent, ever-present. Unlike his louder counterparts, he never sought the spotlight. But now, as the palace prepares to honor him, the question isn't about him, it's about the king. Charles's health has been a point of concern since the beginning of 2024. Diagnosed with cancer, the nature of which remains undisclosed to the public, the king underwent treatment that, according to palace sources, impacted his ability to fulfill certain duties. For much of early 2025, his public appearances were limited, his schedule thinned. Though he resumed engagements by mid-year, questions linger. How much energy does he truly have? What engagements are now being chosen and which are quietly postponed? And so, while the planned reception is indeed confirmed, the fact remains, nothing in the modern monarchy is ever certain. A private event can become a symbol. A birthday toast can echo louder than a coronation speech. And if the king, due to treatment fatigue, sudden flare-ups, or new medical advice, were unable to host this celebration, it would carry implications far beyond a missed party. This isn't about protocol. It's about presence. In recent weeks, multiple royal commentators have observed a shift in tone. Charles, they note, is embracing smaller, more personal acts of symbolism, choosing when to appear and where to invest his energy. Hosting a celebration for the Duke of Kent isn't just a familial courtesy, it's a public reaffirmation of stability, of continuity, of gratitude for a man who served the crown through the reigns of both his mother and grandmother. But this very symbolism makes the event precarious. If cancelled or downsized, it wouldn't go unnoticed. The absence would be loud. The questions, immediate. Is the king well enough? Is he shielding his health? And perhaps most urgently, who steps in when the monarch must quietly step back? It's worth remembering that Prince William has already taken on a larger share of royal responsibilities. While Princess Kate also continues her recovery, William has made solo appearances on behalf of the monarchy in multiple high-profile engagements. Should Charles become unavailable for the Windsor celebration, the optics of William stepping in could suggest more than just filial support. It could look like a transition, subtle but deliberate. Then there's the emotional undertone. This year has already been marked by loss within the royal family. The passing of Catherine, Duchess of Kent, cast a solemn shadow over the House of Windsor just weeks before the Duke's birthday. Though never a frontline royal, the Duchess was beloved by many and remembered for her humility and dedication to education. Her absence from the celebration will be deeply felt. And so, within that emotional landscape, a question remains. Does King Charles have the strength, physically and emotionally, to lead the family through both grief and celebration in the same breath? Insiders say the king is determined, that the event will proceed, that all is well. But the monarchy, by design, is built on silence, on withholding, and history shows us that announcements are often delayed until logistics make them unavoidable. That includes possible changes in royal health. Of course, nothing has been confirmed regarding any cancellations. As of now, the event is expected to go forward. But in royal affairs, timing is everything. And when health becomes part of the equation, even the most carefully scripted engagements can shift without warning. In a way, the uncertainty mirrors the very nature of kingship in a modern world. Charles ascended, not in youth, but in age. He carries with him the legacy of an era and the weight of its transformation. His reign is one of bridging between generations, between values, between visibility and discretion. Hosting a 90th birthday may seem ceremonial, but in reality, it speaks to the heart of that balancing act. Because if a king can't show up for his cousin, who served so faithfully, then what message does that send about the future? What happens behind the stone walls of Windsor Castle may never be fully known. Perhaps Charles will appear, raise a glass, deliver a quiet tribute. Perhaps he won't, and the palace will say little. But the absence, should it occur, will speak volumes. And yet there's something uniquely British in this moment, in the restraint, in the way the monarchy dances just at the edge of full transparency, never quite crossing it. A postponed event becomes a symbol. A private dinner becomes a headline. A missing photograph becomes a theory. So we watch, not just for what happens, but for what doesn't. And we ask, in a time when appearances matter more than ever, when even silence carries weight, can the king's absence become more powerful than his presence? That, perhaps, is the real tension. Not whether the event goes ahead, but what it means if it doesn't. The monarchy has always lived by the rhythm of tradition, but illness doesn't follow protocol, and if Charles needs rest, the crown must adapt. Quietly, without spectacle. Still, such moments test the institution, its ability to remain dignified while human, transparent while private, unchanging while always in flux. As the Duke of Kent quietly marks his 9th decade, the king's response becomes more than ceremonial, it becomes generational. The Duke, after all, is one of the last royal figures with memories of George VI court. He walked beside Elizabeth II for decades. He represents an era slipping slowly into history. And Charles, his host, his cousin, his king, now carries the responsibility of honoring that legacy while stewarding a very different future. This is what makes the moment fragile and deeply significant. Because it's not just about health. It's about what happens when history, legacy, and the limitations of the body collide, when celebration becomes caution, when duty meets doubt, and when a family that has always stood for resilience must, perhaps, embrace fragility. Whatever happens at Windsor Castle, one truth remains clear. The monarchy does not just reflect tradition, it reveals, through its silences and its choices, the quiet transformations of power. And for those of us who watch closely, that's where the story lives. If you value these deeper examinations, beyond the tabloid headlines, into the unspoken heart of the crown, make sure you subscribe to Crownverse. We're only just beginning.